Welcome to All Gas, All Georgia Sports. We're glad you're here, and we're back. I've taken a longer than usual break. A couple of reasons for that. One of which is I was out of town over the weekend. I'm going to get into that. And I got a little sick, so, I probably could have recorded last night or the night before, but, if I was all nasally and my voice didn't sound right and I was coughing, probably not very conducive for a good podcast, but I'm feeling better. I'm ready to go, and I am excited to be here with you guys and talk a little Georgia sports. So I'm going to get into a lot today because there's a lot that's happened since I was last on. So we're going to talk about Braves baseball, UGA football, little Falcons check-in. I'm going to talk about why the NFL is the best product in sports, hands down, along with a Week 2 NFL recap. Also going to talk about Panama City. I have some perspective that I need to kind of talk out a little bit. So appreciate you joining me in that journey. But before I do anything else, as always, we're going to start off the show with a trivia question for you guys. Your trivia question today is, who was the last team in Major League Baseball to win back-to-back World Series championships? Who was the last team to do it? Very difficult thing to do. Braves are going to try to repeat it this year. Heard some hot takes on the Braves while I was away, by the way, or at least a prediction that honestly kind of makes sense, but I'll get to that here in a second. So think about that, though. Who was the last team to win 2 back-to-back World Series championships? And I'm going to give you the answer at the end. So to start off the show, a little bit of a weekend recap for me. Went to Panama City for a bachelor party. A dear old friend from high school. There are certain friends... look, when I was in high school, I was kind of a knucklehead. I myself included, my group of friends, we weren't really that great for each other. So a lot of those guys, I wish them well. I hope they're doing good in life, but I haven't really talked to them in a long time. But I've remained close to a few friends from high school, and this guy is just an awesome dude. So, if he calls, if he says, hey, man, I want you there, I'm going to be there. He's one of those guys. He's just a really good person. So I'm really happy that I got to join him down in Panama City. But it was funny because, speaking of old high school friends, I reconnected with some of them that I hadn't seen in a long, long time. So that was really fun, honestly. I mean, it's been like 12 or 13 years since I've seen most of the guys on this trip. So kind of a blast from the past for me, but yeah, I got a little sick. I went there a little sick, but I was kind of taking my Alka-Seltzer. I was doing what I needed to feel okay. I think it was allergies, but who knows? It kind of felt like a cold toward the end, so I hope I didn't get them sick too. But Panama City, weird place. Okay, I have talked a lot of trash about Panama City because for a long time I just haven't understood the appeal. I don't understand everyone's insistence on going to the Panhandle for vacation. If you live in Georgia and you vacation, it's just like there's a 75% chance that it's like, let's go to the Florida Panhandle. I don't particularly like it. I think it's kind of trashy. I think it's kind of a dump, and whatever. It's just not really my scene. But also, you got to think, I'm not really like a partier. I don't drink anymore. I kind of just, chill and do my thing. I'd rather go to the mountains, whatever. That's just me. But the last few trips that I've gone to Panama City have been with other people who were kind of out of the partying phase, and we're just kind of chilling on the beach, playing a little bit of volleyball, maybe tossing the football around a bit. Some guys will split off and go do some golf. Some guys will go fishing. We'll meet up for dinner at the end. And I'm like, yeah, this is fine. I enjoy the fellowship of it all. But the actual place itself in the Panhandle, I'm just like, why here? Like, why do we have to go here? So anyways, it's not a huge deal, but I enjoy the fellowship, so I go. But I've just sort of kind of acquiesced to it every single time. This time, though, with the guys that I went with now, or at least over the weekend, man, they were throwing down. They were getting hammered. They were having a good time. And Panama City just made so much more sense because that's just not my scene. But when I was there hanging out with them, we were laughing and chilling, and I was kind of observing them just getting hammered on the beach, throwing up Hail Marys to any girl who would bite. I mean, just casting as wide of a net as they could. and so, hey, you drink. A lot of people are out there having a good time and getting hammered as well. A lot of pretty girls, a lot of good fun bars. I understood it more. I got it. I was like, oh, okay, this totally makes sense because that's just where you go to do that. Now, yes, I've always known this. Um, I've always understood that about Panama City, but witnessing it firsthand, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. So for all you Panama City lovers out there, I understand. Go out there, have a good time, be safe out there. And girls, be safe too, man. Guys, hey, look, they're on the prowl, but honestly, it was kind of funny because every single dude I was with struck out. I'm married, half the guys were in relationships. So it was kind of split 50-50 of guys who were trying to, kind of meet some people and guys who didn't really care. But witnessing these guys strike out was hilarious because these girls knew exactly what they were doing. I mean, 100%. They were just like, let's flirt, let's get some free drinks, let's make you think we're interested, and then they go off their separate ways. And it was really funny because every time the guys would be like, man, screw these girls. They're just trying to get our drinks and yada, yada. And they were getting pissed about it. And then as soon as they came back around, they were like, oh, hey, what's going on? And they were like getting back into it. So I don't know. It was just, I'm glad I'm out of that scene, man. I'm glad I'm out of that single life. For all you single people out there, I wish you the best of luck, but it is nice on the other side. People who are like, oh, I'm never getting married. I'm like, say what you will, but being married's awesome, man. You're just, especially obviously if it's with someone you care about, with your soulmate, yada, yada. But it's just nice not to, I was just purely observing them experiencing failure after failure. So, keep swinging, fellas. You'll hit one of these days. So, anyways, that's my Panama City realization. So I get it. I understand it now. Still not really my thing, but I'm probably going to keep going because I go on a lot of guys' trips, and usually it's always there. So moving on to what we're all actually here for, which is sports, I'm going to talk a little Braves. So the Braves win tonight 3-2. And, I got to say, I'm really grateful for where we're at, just as Braves country is concerned, because, every time I'm watching the Braves game now, or I'm checking on the score, I wasn't able to watch a lot of action over the weekend. So I hate that because I like seeing the game and being able to talk on this podcast about exactly what I saw and, takes that I'm getting just from having my eyes on it. But it's just cool because whenever I'm checking the Braves score or watching the game, I'm simultaneously checking the Mets. I'm seeing what they're doing. And look, I've talked a lot of trash about the Mets, and I'm going to continue to do so. But hats off to them, man. The Mets are killing it. They're having a great year, and they are fighting till the end. They keep winning, and the Braves do too. And it's just been exciting to see this race go to the end like this because we're still one game back. The Mets were down 4-0 going into the sixth, scored 3 in the sixth, then they hit a grand slam in the seventh, and ended up winning 7-5 over the Brewers. So the whole time that the Braves were up tonight, it was like, oh, hell yeah, we're going to tie it up, we're going to tie it up, we're going to tie it up, and the Mets come back, and they take care of business, man. Hats off to them. I mean, really, really and truly, they are a good team, and I think it's going to come down to the last series that we have against them. There's a chance they blow it against Milwaukee, maybe. We have the Nats, which is an easy opponent. We should steamroll them, although it got a little sketchy in this game tonight on Tuesday night. But we have the Phillies next. They're going to be tougher. And then we go back to the Nats, and then we have the Mets. So I think it's going to come down to that Mets series. And how cool is that? I mean, we're going to make the playoffs. We're going to be fine, but much rather win the division, especially, getting some consecutive division wins and keeping that streak alive. It's just fun when you can have that. You keep, hanging up banners in the stadium. But, man, it's cool. It's a fun time to be a Braves fan right now, and not many fan bases get that experience of, constantly checking, what both teams are doing. It's just, that's what makes sports fun. And when you have a team that's competing, and honestly, it's more fun to me than like the Georgia Bulldogs right now. I'm going to get into that a little bit later too, but, having a team that's just, really having to battle it out. And when there's competition, stress level is high, and it's just a good time to be a Braves fan. So enough with that. As far as the game tonight goes, we win 3-2 over the Nationals. Kenley Jansen had kind of a sketchy save at the end. He's had a few of those. He ended up getting the save, but he gave up a run in the ninth. We were up 3-1 going into the bottom of the ninth. He gives up a run, loads the bases, and then strikes out the last batter. So it was like, ooh, it was getting a little sketchy. But before that, Charlie Morton looked great, and he looked poised. He looked in control. He looks exactly how you want him to look at this point in the season, going into the playoffs. It's like, okay, that's the Charlie Morton we need. There's really only one moment where he loaded the bases, but then he got out of the jam, and he just looks just calm and collected the whole time. And he's always been like that. He is the veteran guy. He is the guy with postseason experience for multiple different teams. And so you love seeing that, because Charlie Morton, over the past couple of seasons, really throughout the year, it's up and down with him. And he's not unique in that. A lot of pitchers, it's a long season, so a lot of pitchers obviously, go through their ups and downs throughout the year. But he just seems to have locked it in. So loved seeing that. Travis d'Arnaud and Dansby Swanson both homered, accounting for all of our RBIs. But honestly, Michael Harris and Vaughn Grissom are still my favorite part of this team right now. There was, at one point, anytime Michael Harris is on the base path, it's exciting. He's like an Acuna in that way, and Albies in that way, a Swanson in that way, where when he's on base, you have to account for him stealing. When he's on second, the single's most likely going to score him. He's just that fast. He's that electric, very instinctual on the base path. Love it. Love seeing him do his work. But, him and Vaughn Grissom, it's just great. Yeah, there was Michael Harris stole second at one point. This was later in the game, maybe in the seventh. Stole second, then Grissom, ran out an infield hit because he's fast too, but they're not the kind of guys that come up where you go, oh man, we have this new guy that's come up that's just going to hit 50 bombs a year. They just play hard, man. They're good in the field, they're good at the plate, they hit for average, they're fast. It's just the Braves brand of baseball is it's different. It's unique in that way, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So go Braves. As far as injury updates or anything that's newsworthy, Ozzie Albies, you guys know this. This happened while I was away, but he's going to miss the rest of the season with a broken pinky. Bummer for him, because it was right when he came back. He was excited to get back in there, but breaks his pinky sliding into second. Going to miss the rest of the year, and will probably be ready for the postseason, but I'm interested to see how this is going to play out, because, let's say we're in the playoffs and Vaughn Grissom is just tearing it up. Just playing like he has since he came into the league. Just electric, fast, fun, exciting, hitting for average, doing everything that we've seen him do. And then, Ozzie Albies gets healthy again. What do? You pull Vaughn? I don't know. You have to get creative at that point, whether it's with utilizing the DH or mixing and matching in the field. I don't know what you do, but, keep your eye on that. Let's see how that unfolds. I hope Ozzie gets well, because he is one of the leaders on this team, both with his play, but also just emotionally. He brings that energy. So can't wait to get him back on the field. I hope that happens this year. And Mike Soroka, he's hit or miss in the minors right now. We don't know when he's going to come back. His last start was on September 16th. He gave up 3 home runs and 6 earned runs in his last start. So he's had some starts in the minors that have been really good. He's had some that have been not so good. So, the dude hasn't played in 2 years. 2 consecutive Achilles tears, God, such a bummer, especially considering the fact that, when he was a rookie, he was our opening day starter over Max Fried the year after his rookie season. That's how good he was. And Max Fried, he was still kind of coming into his own at that point, but he had become Max Fried. He was there. He had become that guy. He was probably our day 2 starter, you know what I mean? But Soroka, man, he's got the talent, he's got the stuff, and he was right on the cusp of breaking out. So God, I hope we get him back. So we'll see what happens. We're still 1 game back in the NL East, with the Mets winning tonight. So keep your eye on both and enjoy the ride, you guys. Enjoy the ride. Look, the Mets, yeah, they can still blow it, and the Braves can still run away with it, but, I'm not even going to talk shit anymore. Mets are good, and, yeah, good for them, Hey, what else can you say? So moving on to the Georgia Bulldogs, this is going to be a shorter segment because, honestly, it's it's a strange place that we're in right now with UGA. I didn't get to watch this game either. I was bummed about that. I did see some highlights, but it's not the same. I wish I had something where I went, did you see this play? But I did see highlights. Brock Bowers obviously is the stud of this game. What was his stats exactly? He had 5 catches for 121 yards with 2 touchdowns. Absolute beast. But everybody performed. I mean, what is this? This is 10 different guys had receptions. Rushing yards by, is that even right? 10 different guys? I don't even know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different guys had receptions. So Stetson was moving it around as always. Rushing was all over the place. We ran the ball well. Stetson Bennett goes 16 for 13 for 284 yards and 2 touchdowns. Had a lot of rushing touchdowns in this game. Final score was 48-7 over South Carolina, our SEC opener. And, look, get used to it, you guys. I think it's going to be like this really until the end of the season. I don't really see anybody in the East that's going to be a threat to us. I don't see anyone on our schedule that's going to be a threat to us. In the beginning of the year, I had a pretty animated clip where it's just I went through every single game and just yelled win right afterwards. And yeah, that's just the case. That's the deal. We lost all these starters. We lost all this talent. Look, when you have, 5 years in a row of top 5 recruiting classes, you can just do that. You can do what they're doing right now, and it is a big deal that we lost as many starters as we did. But, we have the dudes. We have the guys. It's that simple. So, yeah, get used to it. Welcome to the elite, Georgia fans. Because, at this point, if UGA doesn't just demolish who they're playing, I think something's wrong. Like, if we have a close game, even against Florida, I think Kentucky scares me a little more than Florida. But even then, it's like I say Kentucky scares me. I'm kind of expecting like a 30-13 victory over Kentucky, which is dominant. It could be more. I was expecting something like that against Oregon, and it ended up being a much different story as we all saw. So go Dogs, man. Go Dogs. Welcome to this new world of the elite. It's kind of boring, but knock on wood, I'm going to be grateful because it's not boring at the same time, because it's like, when it gets to the end of the year, all of my excitement from the year, assuming it goes well, is going to pressurize into the SEC championship game. It's going to pressurize into the playoff and hopefully pressurize into the national championship, where I'm going to be absolutely ecstatic, jumping up and down. It's going to be great. So what I want to get into now is I want to do a Falcons check-in. So we're going to check in with the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to see kind of where things are at after 2 games. So we've lost our first 2 games, but I think it's time for some perspective, because we've lost to 2 very good teams, and we've lost by a total of 5 points. Combined point differential is 5 points in those first 2 losses. And both the Rams and the Saints are way different in terms of roster and expectations. Okay, so, knowing that, the fact that the Falcons take them to the last possession in both of those games, and say what you will about those games. You could say that we lost the first game, which I think is fair, but credit to the Saints. They did it when it counted, but we blew it. Okay, fair enough. And we almost had a miraculous comeback against the Rams, which would have been poetic because it was 28-3 at one point. So making that comeback, I'm not going to lie, as soon as the announcers said it, I was like, shut up, don't jinx it, because I really wanted that. But look, we took 2 very, very good teams, the defending Super Bowl champion, to the last possession. We had a Hail Mary chance at the end. And honestly, with the way the momentum had swung for us, we should have scored on that last drive, but Mariota throws that pick on a high throw to Jalen Ramsey. Credit to Jalen Ramsey. He made a good play, but that was a high throw. And I think an ill-advised throw, because there was like 3 guys around. I can't remember who he even threw it to. Maybe it was Hodge, Zacchaeus. I don't even know. But, yeah. I don't know if that was the play call or the decision, but whatever it was, not the best. But, we took 2 very good teams to the end. So, I think the fact that the expectations nationally for the Falcons was that we're a 4-13 team, the fact that this is how we're playing, I don't feel discouraged about this team. Now, look, I don't know what we're going to do. I called 10-7 at the beginning of the year. Was that a delusional fan prediction? Maybe it was. I'm open to that. I can fall victim to that at times, whatever. It is what it is. Sue me. But I have had a feeling all off season, and even watching them last year, that I think this team is going to be kind of sneaky good at times. Now, do we have the makeup to make a deep run in the playoffs? I don't think so. I mean, whatever. Shocking, right? But our depth is clearly there. I see the direction this team is going in, and I really do like it. So yeah, I'm not discouraged. I'm not. I don't think we're playing like a broken team. Broken teams go 4-13 and they get the number 1 draft pick. The Detroit Lions have been a broken organization for a long time. The Cleveland Browns were a broken organization for a long time. The Jacksonville Jaguars have been a broken organization for a long time. Although, fun fact, I was actually hanging out with a diehard Jacksonville Jaguars fan over the weekend, and he called the steamrolling of the Colts. He put money on that game, and he said, look, the Colts haven't won in Jacksonville in X amount of years. Trevor Lawrence is really good. Our coach is really good. And he kind of rattled off all these things, 1 through 12, of why they're going to steamroll the Colts, and sure enough, they did. They shut them out. That was impressive. So who knows? Maybe the Jags are frisky now. And I said I was going to reference this too. Since it's on my mind, I will. That same person is a huge Braves fan. He said, it's not the Mets, it's not the Dodgers. We're going to lose to the Cardinals, and he thinks the Cardinals are going to win it all this year. So, interesting prediction. I could see it. Cardinals are a good team. And they've got, the storylines going for them this year, too. They've got that kind of team of destiny thing, particularly with Albert Pujols. How poetic would it be to send him off with the ring? I get it. But that's what his prediction is. But anyways, going back to the Falcons, I don't think that we're playing like a broken organization. It just doesn't have that feel to me. And people are hating on Arthur Smith. They're saying, we blew the lead. But, look, you're mad because we're not 2-0 right now when everybody was saying that we're going to get a top 3 draft pick. So it's like, which one is it? Are you expecting us to be terrible and to continue to rebuild? And do you trust the process? Or now all of a sudden, because we've played 2 close games, are we a Super Bowl contender? I mean, and I do the same exact thing. I swing back and forth. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to win it all. Oh my God, we suck. We're terrible. I'm a 1 or a 10. Okay. I know that about myself, but I'm encouraged watching these guys. And, Mariota, what is he? Is he the dude? Is he that guy? I don't think so. I don't hate him. He's operating well, but he just doesn't seem like that dude to take over this organization. I think a lot of us have kind of expected that as well. And that's not a knock on Mariota. I am a Mariota fan. It's just, I don't know. It's just how I feel. And yeah, maybe it's because we have the shiny new thing in Desmond Ridder that's just kind of sitting on the bench, and there's already a lot of call to start Ridder already. I don't expect that to go away. I think people are going to be wanting Ridder to hop in, including myself, honestly. I want to see him in there. I want to see what he can do. But unless we start steamrolling our next few opponents, I don't think that noise is going to get any quieter. But Arthur Smith does a good job, I think, at quieting that noise, which is probably good. I mean, look, players who have sat and, whatever. I was just about to say rookie quarterbacks who sit for a while, that's a good thing, but I don't know. I mean, Peyton Manning jumped right in, had a terrible first season, and then became Peyton Manning. There's a lot of guys who start as rookies and end up being just fine. Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger, there's a lot of people who've done it. But then you look at guys like Pat Mahomes, you look at guys like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you have all these extreme examples. Which one is better? I'm not sure. If he's ready to play, if he shows it in practice, they're going to play him. That's just the deal, and I do trust that. I don't think that they're stubbornly going to sit him just because people are calling for it. I think if he's ready to play, he will. But yeah, I guess keep your eye on that because that's not going away. People are going to want to see something, especially if we start losing more games and we feel like, what do we have to lose? Throw the kid in there. You might as well. Get him some playing time, get his feet wet, because if we have a terrible season, I can't see Marcus Mariota being our answer next year as well. So, that's just my take. But I mean, in addition to that, Drake London, he looks awesome. He looked great in that first game too. He made some electrifying plays, but against the Rams, he really showed up, and it became clear of like, oh yeah, that's why we drafted him. He really is that good. He leaped over a guy, and it was just sick, man. So love seeing him get involved. Kyle Pitts has been quiet. That's not going to stay the same. That's not going to be the story. I did get a little nervous of like, oh man, is this going to be like a Julio situation where he's doubled all the time and then we just throw to everyone else? I don't think so. I think that's just kind of how the game unfolded that day. But one thing too that I noticed is that Arthur Smith in press conferences Tell me if you think the same thing, but I think that he got in trouble because he's usually really animated and fiery in his press conferences, and he's the guy who's going to, like, shut reporters down. He's kind of a no nonsense kind of guy, doesn't take any shit. But the last couple press conferences, he's talking like he got in trouble. It's almost like he got in a fight with his brother and mom said, okay, go apologize and act nice. And there's that kind of awkward hour after that. And then you get back to normal. So I'm wondering if he's going to get back to the Art Smith that we know and love, at least that I know and love, in press conferences. But lately he's been very tame, very, very tame, talking low, talking kind of like not making eye contact, kind of like, oh, hey guys, okay, yeah, rough game. But, he doesn't have that, like, kind of in your face energy that I like to see from Art Smith. So Art, be yourself, man. I know that, you got some flack after that press conference after the Saints game because you were like, you wrote us off, you wrote our obituary, go to hell, and he walked off. But, whatever. Hey, you're a coach right after a game. Make it, because he apologized after that. I think that's the thing. He said that, got animated. Right after that, after the next practice, he came out and said, hey, guys, look, I'm sorry, you're doing your job, which is fine. I respect that, actually. I respect any time a human being can take an objective look at themselves, whatever. But since then, he's been very timid. So come on, Art. Let's see it, man. Let's see that energy. So in conclusion, the Falcons, I'm excited to keep watching them. 2 games, we lose by a total of 5 points to 2 incredibly good and talented rosters, ex-Super Bowl champion and playoff aspiring Saints, playoff expected Saints, and we take them to the edge, and say what you will. I think with each game, you can make a case for we lost it. It's an easy case to make in the first game, but the second game against the Rams, we certainly had the momentum on our side when it mattered, and we were in scoring position with a couple minutes left. So you tell me, did we lose? Or did they win? I mean, they won. I'm going to give them the credit because I think it's silly just to live your life as like the controller's broken, I'm going to take the ball and go home. That's stupid. They won those games. But, the Falcons, it certainly is encouraging to see how they're playing. And what's funny too? I'll say this. It certainly feels a lot different seeing them come short of a comeback than blowing a lead. Like, after they blew the lead against the Saints, my heart sank. I felt the same way that I have, I don't know, countless times in the last few years. But when they came up short against the Rams, I was like, oh, man, I was still excited, but it was a bummer. But it just hits different, doesn't it? I mean, you still take the L, both games still came down to the last play of the game when we had the ball. So, the conclusion of both of those games were very similar in that way. But it just hits different when we come short of a comeback. You go, man, we almost had it. Wouldn't that have been sick? As opposed to, dude, are you kidding me? We had it. What the hell is wrong with us? So, yeah, kind of funny there. But go Falcons. I'm still pulling for you. I'm still a believer. I still have hope. My friends give me a hard time. After every game, I go, what the heck, guys? What happened? And they go, well, what'd you expect? I'm like, I don't know. I expect what I expect. I expect us to be awesome all the time. And I just, I'm hopeful. Sue me. So, moving on to the rest of the NFL, and before I even do like a week 2 recap, the NFL is the best product in all of sports. It really is. In being a Georgia guy, I've grown up surrounded by people, and I've also been in this camp of like, no, college is better. There's more heart in college. Georgia Bulldogs all the way. Bulldogs over Falcons. I'm here to say that that's not the case with me anymore. Now, do not mistake what I'm saying here. I bleed black and red for the Falcons and for the Bulldogs. Hardcore, my life is enhanced when the Bulldogs win and my heart breaks when they lose, okay? I'm all the way there. But I'm not necessarily like college over NFL guy. It's just the NFL is better. The NFL is a better product on the field, for sure. Because how many primetime games do you have in college each week that are expected to be good, and how many of those games that are expected to be good end up not being good? You know what I mean? Like, you have a team, okay, take the first game of the year, Georgia-Oregon. Okay. Alabama-Texas was really exciting a week and a half ago. There have been some fun games. Florida's played a few really exciting. Every single game Florida plays, it's like down to the wire. So I don't know. That's I'm sure, people in Gainesville's hearts have been pumping pretty fast over the last few weeks watching those games. But statistically, the amount of games that really have you on the edge of your seat, to me, in college, is much lower, even though each game has higher stakes. So I will give college football that. Like, anytime a game is close for the Dogs this year, we're going to be freaking out because we're like, crap, like if we lose one game, are we going to get kicked out of the playoffs? What's the rest of the season? We have to win out the rest of the year to get a shot, all that stuff. So college has that. But the NFL is amazing. Anyone can take it each year. And let me give you some stats here real quick just to show you how good the NFL is. So, of the first 32 games played, 53% of those games were decided by one score or less. So, and that's not because week 1 was, tipping the scales in that direction and week 2 wasn't. So 9 out of the first 16 games played in week 1 were a one-possession game, and 8 out of 16 in week 2 were one-possession games. So every single week, now if you have Red Zone or Sunday Ticket, it's a field day for you right now. It is a wonderful time to be alive. But even if you're, just flipping through 2 games, CBS and Fox, and then waiting for NBC for Sunday night and Monday Night Football, ESPN, even if you're just playing that game on basic cable, it's a flip of a coin that you're going to see a game that comes down to the wire. I mean, a field goal, a comeback, it's unbelievable. And just as far as the talent level goes and the level of competition that we're seeing, I was looking at the list of quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and 78% of starting quarterbacks in the league are, I think, either good or elite. Now, that's up for debate. You could debate, what constitutes as good. I think most people are in agreement with who the elite guys are. But 78% of quarterbacks are legit, are really good. And just to give you an example, I'm just going to run through a list of starting quarterbacks here, okay? And I'm not going to talk about each one of if they're good or if they're elite. I'm just going to give you the list, and you tell me if you agree with that. Because I think the number, because 78% means 25 out of 32 quarterbacks are good to elite. Now, that could be 21 to 25, depending on your definitions here. So, but like I said, you tell me. Here's the list. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson. Say what you will about Deshaun Watson. He's a great quarterback. Russell Wilson, Davis Mills. I consider him good. Matt Ryan, Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert. There hasn't been a scrub at all on this list so far. Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Mitch Trubisky, Ryan Tannehill, Marcus Mariota, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Justin Fields, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, Kirk Cousins, Jameis Winston, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, Geno Smith, Tom Brady, and Carson Wentz. The number of people on that list that I read and go, not that guy, is small. There's a few people on that list, 6 to 8 guys on that entire list that I just read. I go, yeah, maybe they're not. You know what I mean? But even a lot of those, it's like debatable. Geno Smith, for example, after week 1, you go, well, I wouldn't have put him in the good category. But after week 1, you go, I don't know. He played great. I can't remember what he did. I don't know if they won. I'm going to do the full recap and see here in a sec. But Geno Smith did not stick out to me from the weekend. So I don't know what that tells me. But just think about that. So all of those games, half the games played so far are within a possession. 78% of the most important position on the field are good quarterbacks, or good or better. And then, of course, you have fantasy football. Fantasy football is the best fantasy sport by far. It's just true. Statistically, it's true. 78% of fantasy sport participants play fantasy football. And second place, to give you some perspective, is baseball, fantasy baseball, and 39% of fantasy sport participants play fantasy baseball. And pretty much all of those guys also play fantasy football. It's great. It's amazing. That has changed viewership and changed interest in the league 100%. I know a lot of people who weren't really into the NFL until they started playing fantasy football. And then once they started, they can't get enough of it. They watch it all the time. That happened to me even. And I've always been a big NFL fan. I was always watching different games. I remember watching like when the Jets went to the AFC Championship and lost to the Steelers. I remember watching, Tom Brady's first Super Bowl. I remember watching Vic back in the day. So I've been a big NFL guy for a long time, but fantasy sports 100% kind of gave me my second wave of NFL love. So yeah, it's the best product in sports. It's great. I think it's better than college football. I think it's better than baseball. And I'm a huge fan of both of those things, so I don't say that lightly. So just, I don't know, go NFL. I guess that's the whole point of this segment particularly, is just NFL's back and it's great. It's amazing. And, just look at these scores right here. This is okay, recap of week 2. I'm going to be fairly fast through this and just see if anything kind of sticks out to me throughout these scores. But Chiefs-Chargers, 2 really good teams. They're going to be playing again. I can promise you that. But Chiefs win 27-24 on Thursday Night Football. What a game. Fantastic game. Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, I think, are both safely in that elite category. Patriots beat the Steelers 17-14. That was kind of a rough game. No huge eye-popping stats from that game, at least from what I remember. But, tough game by a field goal. First 2 games, 3 points. Another 3-point game. Giants beat the Panthers 19-16. How about the Giants? Remember last week I said Giants got some juice? Well, they're 2-0 now. And look, I know, early in the season, I've heard a lot of people say you really don't know what a team is all about until week 4. I think that makes even more sense these days with one less preseason game and the fact that a lot of guys aren't even playing in the preseason. But hey, good start for the Giants, rather. I'd rather be the Giants than the Falcons, as far as the record's concerned. So, hey, good for them. The Jets-Browns game, so this is funny. So the Jets win 31-30. Okay, but fun fact about this one in the fourth quarter, because the Browns had it. The Browns absolutely had it. So much so that the Browns head coach brought his kids down on the field to celebrate with the team. Right after he did that, the Jets kick an onside kick, recover it, and go down and score the winning touchdown. So, yeah, that's kind of a callback to when Kentucky played LSU back in the day, and they poured Gatorade on the coach, and then right after that, I think it was Jamarcus Russell threw that Hail Mary for LSU to win it at Kentucky. But, yeah, kind of hilarious when things like that happen. So don't celebrate too early, folks. You never know what can happen, especially in a league like this. But, yeah, I mean, go Jets. Go Flacco. Hey. Jaguars beat the Colts 24-0. What's up with Matt Ryan? The Colts are now 0-1-1. Ooh, I really do believe this. I think I would rather be 0-2 than 0-1-1. I would hate to see a tie. I would hate it. I would hate it so much. It's just, I said this last week, it's like a gnat or a mosquito flying around your head. It just will never go. It's, terrible. But they get blown out by the Jags in Jacksonville, 24-0. And yeah, my buddy called it. He put money on it. He was like, I'm telling you, people are calling me crazy. The Jags are going to destroy the Colts, and that's exactly what they did. So, Nick, you were right, man. Dolphins-Ravens, what a game this was. So the Dolphins-Ravens, check this out. The Dolphins score 28 points in the fourth quarter to complete a miraculous comeback. And Tua Tagovailoa, his stats were 36 for 50, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 picks. 6 touchdowns, 469. Unreal. Receiving was just off the charts. Tyreek Hill had him in fantasy. What's up? 11 receptions, 190 yards for 2 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle, he was on my bench, actually, so that sucked. 11 receptions, 171 yards with 2 touchdowns. Gesicki, 41 yards and a touchdown. And then River Craycraft had 1 reception for 2 yards and a touchdown. So good job, Craycraft. But Dolphins are 2-0, man. They've had a lot of buzz, appropriately so. They're looking really, really good. And I always wonder, it's like teams with a lot of hype, and the Dolphins just feel like they're one of those teams that have been – the Dolphins feel almost like how the Chargers had felt for a long time. During the Phillip Rivers years, every year at the beginning of the season, they were going, Chargers are winning the Super Bowl. There was at least a number of pundits, on ESPN, NFL Network saying, look out for the Chargers. They got the roster, they got the quarterback, and they did have a good team. Phillip Rivers was good, but they just never seemed to just, by halfway through the season, you're like I never considered the Chargers even a contender even though everyone else was saying they were. It's like they were trying to, I think they were gaslighting me. They were trying to, like, tell me how to think. And I said, no, guys, I don't believe you. It's wrong. It's incorrect. And I felt that way about the Dolphins the past couple years, which, is appropriate. It's not the same situation because they've been more of a mess than the Chargers were, I think at least. But, I was wondering about the Dolphins this year, but sure enough, man, they look good. I was wondering about Tua. Sure enough, he looks good. He's made some really athletic plays. He's avoiding pressure. He's moving around in the pocket. He's not your scramble guy, but he's making things happen back there. So good for Tua, man. I mean, he's caught, I think, more shit than most guys that I can think of in the offseason. People talking about his arm, people talking about his, that he's just not going to be that guy. But so far, so good. So the Bucs beat the Saints. That game was a snooze. It was like 3-3 in the fourth quarter, literally. And then there was a fight where Mike Evans, and he's suspended for a game, and he should be. He's an idiot. I don't know what he was doing, but he like ran across the field in the heat of the moment and just took this dude out. It was, I will say, it was kind of nice to see it as a Falcons fan because I hate the Saints much more than the Bucs. So I was kind of like, hell yeah, go get him, but you shouldn't do that. So he's suspended for a game. But after that, things kind of kicked off because both teams scored the rest of their points in the fourth quarter. And Jameis, I think, had a couple of picks. He kind of looked like that flip of a coin Jameis, where against us in the fourth quarter, he was great. Against the Buccaneers, not so much. He couldn't get it done. So yeah, Bucs win that. The Lions get a win. What's up, Lions? Good for you. 36-27 over the Commanders at home for Detroit. Good for them. The 49ers steamroll the Seahawks. Okay, that's why Geno Smith didn't jump off. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, Trey Lance out for the season. Broke his ankle, I think. So I guess that quarterback conversation is done, at least for this year. But bummer for Trey Lance, man. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo came in. He took care of business as expected. They win 27-7. He operated well. He's a great quarterback, and he's San Francisco's guy. I hate this for Trey Lance because I think he's really talented and really good. But he never really even got a chance this year. So, I hope that his career isn't, defined by this. I mean, that's kind of a bleak outlook, but yeah, I guess I'm saying that to say that I hope that doesn't happen. But that's a huge storyline because last week I was like, hey, look, the entire year, it's just, unless Trey Lance becomes Pat Mahomes, it's just going to be Trey or Jimmy. But now that's over, and I just wish Trey the best and for a speedy recovery. Rams Falcons, of course, we all know what happened there. Rams win 31-27. Falcons almost complete a 28-3 comeback in a dramatic way too, especially considering like the stars were aligning for us. Block punt return for a touchdown, a rare fumble by Cooper Kupp, some great plays on defense. Michael Walker getting that pick, and man, it's just a lot of things were breaking our way. And then that last pick, man, that sucked. So the Cardinals-Raiders, this game was insane. Kyler Murray, with 0 seconds left, runs in a touchdown. And then still 0 seconds on the clock. They go for 2 to tie it. He gets it. A crazy play, too, where he's running around in the pocket, kind of motions A.J. Green to the middle of the end zone, throws a dart, and A.J. Green catches it in the back of the end zone, like on his back. It was an unbelievable play. Going to overtime, and the Cardinals end up winning that game, 29-23. So, I mean, unreal. Great game. And good for Kyler Murray. He's, speaking of quarterbacks who've gotten a lot of shit in the offseason, he's certainly in that camp. Broncos get a win over the Texans, 16-9. That game was kind of a snooze. And I forget, Russell Wilson, even with the Seahawks, played a lot of games like that where, like, I guess he just has that, like, he's a winner, quote-unquote, mentality. He's got that thing, which is true about Russell Wilson, but, excuse me, that game was kind of a snooze, but, good for Russ. I'm a Denver guy. I like Denver. I lived there for a while. Broncos country is real. It's one of the best NFL fan bases that I've experienced. They're awesome. So, yeah, go Broncos. Cowboys beat the Bengals in dramatic fashion. The Bengals made a run. They were getting beat kind of all game. Came back. It was tied. Cowboys walk it off with the field goal. Another close game. I mean, you guys, every single game is amazing. The NFL is such an awesome thing. The Packers beat the Bears. Man, I don't know what to think about Justin Fields. Week 2. Okay, week 2. It's fine, but he doesn't throw the ball that much. They run with him more than anything. I want to say, yeah, he threw the ball 11 times. He was 7 for 11 with 1 pick for 70 yards. Is the Packers defense that good, or are they using Justin Fields just in a bad way? But the dude can sling it. He's got an arm. Keep your eye on that. Justin Fields, he was drafted to be the guy to fix things in Chicago. That quarterback dance that teams do for years and years and years, it sucks. And we, as Falcons fans, haven't had to experience that in a long time. We went Vic, 1 year break, Matt Ryan. That's been 2 generations worth of Falcons fans right there. So we have not, and before that we had Chris Chandler. He took us to a Super Bowl. So it's like, look, I hope to God that we don't get in that position. That the Browns were in, they draft a quarterback every single year. The Lions or the Bears now. You know what I mean? It's just like, ugh, that sucks. So hopefully that doesn't happen. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know if Justin Fields is the guy. Let's see. The last 2 are, here we go, Monday Night Football. Not really great games on Monday night. Bills-Titans. Bills steamroll the Titans 41-7. There was a scary injury in that game, actually, and I'm going to look up exactly who that was, but there was a really scary neck injury. Before I get to that, Eagles beat the Vikings. They pummeled the Vikings 24-7. Vikings had no chance. It was bad. It was kind of like the Bills-Titans game. Josh Allen's the truth. Stephon Diggs is amazing. All that stuff is still true. They're good at everything. But let me look up this Bills injury real quick because my wife had said something really fascinating to me. Injury. Who was it? It was Dane Jackson. That's right. So Dane Jackson. Oh, and here's a new... So an update from that, from ESPN, Dane Jackson avoids major injury to neck or spinal cord and released from hospital. They said he was moving his legs after the injury, which is a really good sign because there was another Bills player back in the 90s who was paralyzed basically from the neck down after a hit similar to that. And when that happened, reports say that he was only moving his eyes. That's all they can move. And if you see the replay, it's like, honestly, don't watch it. It's like his neck just gets snapped back by his own player too. And I was like, they brought the ambulance out there. I don't know if he was moving at the time. And I was like, he might be dead or he's never going to walk again. It was that nasty looking. And something my wife told me that I didn't realize is I think this started in hockey, but they found that for spinal cord injuries especially, they want to freeze or cool the area around the injury because the inflammation that happens around the spinal cord when you injure those areas is what can cause a lot of the permanent damage. And so they can do that in a couple of ways. They can inject like saline or some sort of like chemical or just some sort of liquid that they pre-cool. They can inject that into the damaged area to reduce the inflammation. And this has been life-saving for people, literally. So that guy from the Bills actually had that treatment shortly after that neck injury, and he can walk now. And his name escapes me at the moment, but it's fascinating stuff what they can do nowadays. But apparently, yeah, what they want to do now is they want to quickly cool the area, whereas before it would just inflame. They would try and keep you still. And if you got an injury that looked like that, it was pretty much like there was nothing that you can do. But they've come a long way with what they can do for people these days. And I just hope to God that, Dane Jackson, everything's good with him now. So happy to hear that. Good for you. We're praying for you. So everyone else, please do the same for both Dane and his family, because that was a very scary injury. They've done a lot to reduce the risk, I think, in football, but it's still a very physical sport. It always will be, and it always should be. That's the appeal to football. That's what makes it so exciting and so much fun, but it does come with some serious risks, and that was an example of that, and you hate to see it. So, yeah, week 2 recap, fun stuff. NFL's the best. It's the absolute best. I love every second of it. So enjoy it, you guys. The weather's getting better. It's about to cool down. Going into next week, we're going to start seeing highs in the 70s. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to get a little bit of a heat wave this week, but it's just, hopefully it's, summer's last kind of, swing. And then we're going to get back to just, cool weather and football. It's the best time of the year. So to end the show, as promised, I'm going to circle back around on our trivia question. And the trivia question was, if you remember correctly, who was the last team in Major League Baseball to win back-to-back World Series championships? And that answer is the New York Yankees. They did it 22 years ago, and they actually won 3 in a row. So not only are they the last team to win back-to-back, but during that stretch, they won 3 in a row from 1998 to 2000. They actually swept the Braves in the 99 World Series, if you remember that. That was one of those 3. And they swept the Padres as well, I think, and then they beat the other team 4-1. So, yeah, the Yankees were pretty scary back then. They were really, really good, but that was the last team to do it. Really difficult to do. Not many teams have done it. The Yankees did it then, and there's a short list of teams that have done it before them. So the Braves are, of course, going after something that's incredibly rare in the baseball and sporting world, but they have the attitude, they have the roster to do it. There are other really good teams out there, but we keep swinging and fighting with the Mets, and at this point in the season, I'm just along for the ride. So buckle up, Braves fans. It's epic. We're 1 game back in the NL East, and we're almost over. I mean, it's been just a hell of a 2022 year. Earlier in the year, when we got back 10 games or whatever that was, it was like, man, the saying is true where you can't win the division in the beginning of the year, but you can lose it. I was like, God, we weren't terrible, but we were just that same kind of thing as 2021 where we were 500. We'd lose a few, win a few, and all that. But then we get hot, and then here we come. I will say this. I'm excited for a couple of things with the end of the season approaching. I'm excited to not see any more I finally graduated high school commercials, and I'm excited to not hear "Walk a Mile in My Shoes." Maybe I'm not supposed to say that because all of those commercials represent something very heartwarming and touching. I don't care. They're so annoying, and it's just because of the sheer amount that I've seen them. Bally Sports, I think, just signed a deal with 3 people and said, yeah, we'll just play your commercials just every game. And that's all we're going to play. It's all we're going to do. It's all we're going to see. We're going to see pest control commercials, which at least are kind of funny. And then, God, man, I just, good for you guys for graduating high school. And yeah, be considerate, walk a mile in my shoes. But if I hear that song one more time, I'm just going to literally smash the TV with the hammer. But hey, look, positive things, positive vibes. We need that for the Braves to catch the Mets, and I think they will. So as always, thank you for listening. Go make someone's day today. It's Wednesday, September 22nd. It's hump day. After today, you're going to be counting down to the weekend. Enjoy it. And after this weekend, it's the last week in September, and then we go into October. We got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's all right here. So enjoy it, you guys. Go make someone's day. Go do some good in the world. Leave the places that you visit better than you left it, whether that's physically, emotionally, spiritually, you pick. But go crush it today. I love you. Thank you as always for listening, and I'll see you guys on Friday. See ya.